Yo, what up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. These are the results of the aftermath. Keith Thurman versus Mario Barrios. Before I get started, I want to say shout out to both warriors. You see, it was a grueling fight. Mario Barrios showed a lot of heart, lived up to his nickname. It looks like something's wrong with his nose. If you guys look in the pictures, it almost looks like his nose is swollen or fractured, maybe out of place or broken. It was just that type of fight. I want to give my thoughts on the fight. Hopefully you guys tune into the Boxingego watch party. I think ultimately Keith Thurman, he pretty well dominated Mario Barrios. But it's hard to describe, but Mario Barrios, as crazy as this sounds, because I just told you Keith Thurman dominated, Mario Barrios has nothing to hold his head low about, because Mario Barrios made it very competitive. And even though you could tell he was losing the rounds, he was making it competitive enough and showing enough resiliency and enough heart to make it interesting. And there were even a couple points maybe where he got Keith Thurman's attention and or hurt Keith Thurman. So all in all, very fun fight, high speed chess match. This scene right here, Mario Barrios was like pounding on his trunks like, what's up? And this is after Barrios got hurt. So it goes to show you that Mario Barrios is a real life warrior, and he's again living up to, look at this face. He got the blood splattered everywhere, living up to Guerrero, you know, which means warrior in Spanish, living up to his nickname, El Azteca. Now, regarding Keith Thurman to me looked very sharp. He was kind of picking his spots, and in the mid rounds, he really got to a rhythm and would just ush, and then he'd hop out and then like flee and get some angles. As the fight progressed, Keith Thurman would still pick his spots, but you know, he used his legs more, and that's impressive for a fighter in their mid 30s to have that bounce. Keith Thurman, I thought, showed a lot of bounce and a lot of spring in his step, and that his legs were still fresh. You know, especially coming off a long layoff. This was also the best weight that I can recall Keith Thurman being in. So Keith Thurman, I thought he assessed himself kind of harshly in the fight. Keith Thurman said he gave himself, I think it was a C+ or a C-. Me personally, I didn't think Keith Thurman looked bad. I would say the fight was more like a B. I would give him a solid B. All things considered, you guys got to keep in mind, Keith Thurman was out of the ring for over 1,100 days, right? And Teofimo Lopez, and the reason I'm bringing this is because I'm just thinking of brainstorming off the top of my head, other fighters who had decent layoffs and came back and their performances didn't look like this. So Teofimo Lopez, if you guys recall, Teofimo Lopez beat Vasily Lomachenko in October, November of 2020, the first year we really got into the pandemic. And then Teofimo got, in my opinion, big-headed and would tell anyone who's listening, I'm only doing $5 million minimums. I want the most money. They got to max me out. Him and his dad were saying that Teofimo Lopez is a bona fide pay-per-view star, and they weren't settling for chump change anymore. Right? This culminated in Teofimo Lopez. He ended up leaving, or his next fight with all this hoopla, his next fight got picked up by a whole different company, which was Triller. And I've already covered that in real time, so I'm not going to go over every single aspect of it. But long story short, it didn't work out with Triller. And after several cancellations for a variety of reasons, several delays, it was completely defaulted, and Teofimo Lopez ended up fighting on DAZN. So with all those delays taken into consideration, Teofimo was out of the ring for over a year. He fought at home, he talked a good game, but he did not back it up versus George Kambosos. George Kambosos was coming off two performances where he could have lost, Mick Bay and also Lee Selby, right? And he put it all together that night in Teofimo's backyard of New York, and he beat the brakes off of Teofimo Lopez. So the point I'm making is that it is extremely hard to take any level of a layoff, let's say a year plus type of layoff, and then come back and put on a performance where you arguably win every single round or pitch a shutout. So this was very impressive for Keith Thurman, in my opinion, because you can say whatever you want. Mario Barrios is just dumb tough, and his heart is crazy, and he looked longer and bigger, than Keith Thurman, and he was coming to fight. So all in all, this was the great comeback fight that Keith Thurman needed. A lot of people are not being realistic. They're saying that Keith Thurman should have did this, and how come he couldn't get the stoppage? Bro, I just gave you an example. Teofimo Lopez, younger than Keith Thurman, hasn't been through the same level of tough level fights as Keith Thurman. Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, Diego Chavez was a tough fight. Of course, Manny Pacquiao. I want to, it's up to my 45, my right? We've seen Keith Thurman in all these big fights, right? And with nearly 3 years out the ring against a very game opponent who, even though he was moving up, was bigger than Keith Thurman and had the reach and lankier than Keith Thurman, has a great team, and Virgil Hunter, et cetera, gave Tank Davis issue. People's biggest gripe, really, that I'm seeing in my comment section, is he didn't get the stoppage. Listen, kudos to Gervonta Davis. This was at a different weight class. So it could be that Mario Barrios is more solid at 147 because he was killing himself to make weight. So I'm not taking anything away from Gervonta Davis. He's a stud. He's a superstar. We know that. But, you know, I see people use these weird triangle theories and really put too much precedence on one fight. There's a stoppage, and another fight, there's not a stoppage. Like, who cares? It's boxing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's not the end all be all, I guess you could say. Like, another recent example would be Jermall Charlo versus Montiel. Montiel had been stopped one time before, and that was against Jaime Munguia. But if you listen to the buildup of the fight, before the fight, keep in mind, Samson Likowitz, the promoter of Montiel, said he got stopped in the Munguia fight, but that fight was taken on 2 weeks notice, versus when he fought Charlo, he had a full camp. He had probably grown as a fighter, et cetera, et cetera. So by the time they fought, guess what? Charlo didn't stop him. But who cares? Each fight is his own independent fight. You know what I mean? Floyd Mayweather, we can do these triangle theories all day. Floyd Mayweather absolutely beat Manny Pacquiao, limited him to like 71 punches in that fight. Pacquiao looked pretty bad in that fight. But Rustico Torrecampo knocked out Pacquiao back in the Philippines. So what does any of this mean? Nothing. So is Rustico Torrecampo better than Floyd Mayweather? You know what I mean? Because Pacquiao got knocked out by this Torrecampo guy, you know? Or look at Juan Manuel Marquez knocked out Pacquiao when they fought the fourth time. It took 3 other absolute fights, and the fourth time Marquez cracked him. Floyd Mayweather fought Marquez and dominated him just like he dominated Pacquiao. So again, more proof that triangle theories, they simply put, they do not work in the sport of boxing. And I don't understand why people keep talking about it. It's like so senseless, and it's really a waste of time because Keith Thurman is his own fighter. Gervonta Davis wasn't coming off of a 3-year layoff fighting Barrios. They weren't fighting at welterweight. They were fighting at a different weight, you know? So each thing, and to stress and bring this point home even further, you got to understand, when fighters go through a loss, they have an opportunity to learn a lesson and they have a chance to improve. Like, remember when LeBron James lost to the Dallas Mavericks and everybody clowned him? Everybody said, oh, LeBron, he ain't never gonna get no rings and he sucks because Dirk and the Mavericks beat him in the finals, right? LeBron James came back super focused next season, and he was meditating and reading books right before practice, and he was really zoned in. He got a ring next year. You see what I'm saying? So in boxing, Montiel's and Barrios and Keith Thurman, all these guys took some level of a loss to either Pacquiao or Gervonta or to Munguia or whoever. So you negate the actual possibility that someone can take a loss and not want to go through that again and strengthen certain things so they don't look bad or, you know, try to improve. That's the whole name of the game. People are trying to get better and improve their craft. So Mario Barrios, he learned probably from the Tank fight. So I just see too many people making comparisons in my comment section and just throughout the internet about Barrios and Tank versus Keith Thurman. All in all, I don't think Keith Thurman looked bad at all. I think Keith Thurman did his thing. He looked surprisingly sharp. In fact, I'll take it a step further and say this return off of a longer layoff, Keith Thurman looked better here than the Josecito Lopez fight where he nearly got stopped. Again, there were small moments where Mario Barrios, I do think he rocked Keith Thurman, got his attention, maybe hurt him to the body. And Keith Thurman, you know, he was pacing himself. So there were moments where maybe he was a little bit more patient and could have went for the kill if he wanted to. But winning is winning. You could worry about and sort all that stuff out later. You got to collect that dub. You got to get that west side. You know what I'm saying? You got to get that dub. Once you get that dub, you could go back, watch tape and nitpick and, you know, fine tune your performance. He did what he had to do. I thought Keith Thurman looked sharp, in and out. Really showed a lot of poise. He showed a lot of poise because it's a similar style to Pacquiao and Amir Khan, where he leaps in and he ambushes you. But the difference is Keith Thurman doesn't get greedy. Like Pacquiao, the reason why he been knocked out, because he'll fight a talented fighter like Marquez and hop in, and Marquez got a read on what he was doing or knew when he do that stutter step, then he had that right bow and cracked Pacquiao, and Pacquiao needed smelling salts to wake up. You dig? Versus the same thing with Amir Khan. Amir Khan was doing good, with Danny Garcia, but then he kept doing and Danny Garcia caught him with that left hook, that no look hook, that Philly, right? Keith Thurman, he becomes very, very hard to beat because at the end of the day, he's not getting greedy and he's leaping in and giving you angles, and it just makes it awkward. Ush, and then he's out. Versus Pacquiao trying to throw the 3-4, like, you know what I'm saying, 3, 4, 5, 6 punch combinations. You're staying in the pocket longer for someone to react and counter. But if you're fast and quick and athletic and you only say ish, and you got heavy hands such as Keith Thurman, it's ish, and then I'm out, and then you just took them 2, 3 shots. You just got hurt, and then the person's already out and using the ring. So I thought it was a mature, intelligent performance. Other thing I noticed with boxing, and I know Keith Thurman's always kind of used that style, but sometimes when they fight another person with that kind of similar style, it like teaches you. It's like Highlander, you know? And I really feel Keith Thurman losing to Pacquiao, he kind of inherited some of Pacquiao's pizzazz with the leaping in. He was very educated about it. And that's what happens. You get taught. Same thing with Canelo. I think the same thing with Canelo. Canelo getting whooped by Floyd Mayweather. Easy work. I ain't got to worry about it. You started seeing Canelo started implementing a lot that he learned from Floyd in the Floyd fight. You know, I don't know if it haunted him. He watched the Floyd fight over and over again, but you started seeing Canelo utilize a lot of like Floyd-isms in his fights after that, like little sequences and different things. So, you know, it's a testament. You in there with somebody good who's elite, it's anything. If you're a basketball player and then you fight somebody, you're a basketball player, you play against Kobe, rest in peace. You play against Jordan, LeBron, and they was drilling you, and you know what I'm saying, putting up shots. You like, dang, you take pieces of each person's game. So respects to Keith Thurman. I thought he did that. Thought he took pieces of Pacquiao's game, fused it in with his style. And I thought he looked good, man. I thought he looked good with all things considered. I don't know what a lot of y'all was respecting or expecting. in the fight, but it doesn't seem to be realistic to me. I think Keith Thurman, you know, he could go straight to a big fight if the opportunity presents itself, maybe one more tune-up and then a big fight, but he's right there. And again, the most important thing is capturing that dub. Once you capture that dub, you move on to the next one. You don't have to rebuild. You don't have to worry about, you don't cry. You're not overly sore the next day. You watch tape, see what you could sharpen up on, and then you right back in business. Getting that win after a loss, Barrios needed it too, and Keith Thurman was the one to get it. You know what I'm saying? So I thought Keith Thurman, he back in the W column. All that other stuff is hearsay. All that other stuff, who cares? That's the most important thing. You got that dub, you know, get with Dan Birmingham, Al Heyman, PBC, get with your people, and then figure out what your next step is and stay more active. But he has a hell of a canvas, in my opinion. Keith Thurman has a hell of a canvas to build from this performance. He gave himself a very harsh criticism and said like, oh, I could have done more and all this stuff, and my endurance wasn't there. I thought he did better than really expected. I was expecting some ish moments like the Josecito Lopez moment in the fight or Luis Collazo, but it wasn't. Even when he did get hurt, you know, he took out his mouthpiece, little stuff like that. It's boxing, you're gonna get hurt. You know what I'm saying? You're in there with someone game that's behind all the rounds. If they got heart like Mario Barrios, then they're gonna try, and they're gonna try to put it on you. But the composure from Keith Thurman was very impressive, and the overall performance. Shout out to Barrios, he was game, he tried. Keith Thurman's back, baby. That's what I've seen. This is the complete breakdown from the boy Boxingego. I think Keith Thurman only goes up from here. Maybe an Errol Spence Ugas winner. I don't know. He can fight a lot of people. A lot of people he can fight off of that performance. But he definitely needs to stay more active, and then you don't have to worry about ring rust or, you know, slowing down in the second half of the fight, anything. So all in all, very fun fight. That is the complete breakdown from your boy Ego. Shout out to both people. All in all, I enjoyed it. $75 well spent. I would have liked to see Keith Thurman use his jab consistently a little bit more, and I think that would have set up the ambush style, but well played. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know how I did in the video. And I'm out. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster.